Hey everybody, this is Gesler again. This time I will be doing a post by Arcalen Andres in the thread Feet Steady, Heartbeat Steady. Or rather, Feet Ready, Heartbeat Steady, my bad. Like anything, do the I do it only once. I read the narration only once, and hopefully it comes out good. Um, and hopefully I do Arcalen's voice right. Not sure how his character would sound like, but who knows? Maybe he'll like the way I do it. Anyways, here goes nothing. Family. The word washed over him, and he knew in this moment he had made the correct choice in coming here, no matter the costs. It meant something to him, for his counterpart to acknowledge the otherwise obvious fact. He had lived, not only lived perhaps, but existed, for so long. A coil of rage, hatred, and pure violence. Well, when that had begun, stripped from his reemergence in a cold graveyard in Imperia, what was left? Like a newborn, he had been empty, a blank that, although he knew the world, did not know himself. He had a chance to remake himself, and he would not fill that void with the quick burning vices of hate and death like before. If he had the chance to remake himself here, he would choose a life that meant something, not only to him, but to others as well. Was it frightening? By the gods, if she only knew. That didn't matter, couldn't matter. He was oblivious to what would come from his meeting, and realized it fully yet was okay with it. Relief came as she gently pushed aside words of apologies the past. Something came across his face, an expression that was as much a mystery to him as it would be to her. His eyes closed for the briefest of moments in quiet thankfulness. That she had said there was no blame, that she did not resent him for what he had put her through. Absolution for his actions was so easily given, so freely offered. It was more than he deserved, he knew. He shook his head slowly, looking at her, accepting the past as it was for the moment. He let her lead him to the side table, taking simple refuge in every step, every moment he could, painfully aware that although his mind was at peace and his heart rising at this reunion, his patron and his pledge would not allow him such peace forever. Once he would have relished such tasks, but now, watching his sister and the life within her, here in the quiet office sanctuary, he could not help but wish his life had somehow ended up differently. He pushed such thoughts out of his mind when she mentioned she was with child. Arcalen's face lit up as he could not help but surprise a smile and a joyful laugh. Life after death he had faced, but this too meant something for him. The way she looked downward at it fondly meant something too, he could tell. She was happy for it, and he could not help but share in that quiet happiness. Fate smiles upon you and your house, sister. You have my many congratulations. How long have you been with child? Who has stirred it? To think the next generation of the illustrious house Andres had already began. It was wonderful, and the younger of the two seemed for all intents fine with it. As he had anticipated, the happy fires of the future were quickly drowned out by the weight of the past. He had spoke the words, and with it opened Pandora's box. Although she was visibly shaken by the admission, he did not regret it. He could not lie to her, did not want to lie to her. Now he began the bloody work of dredging up the past, explaining things that had no right to be explained. He prayed she believed him. I am trusting you with my very life when I tell you this, he intoned to her, his eyes heavy and flecked with an unknown fear. What you said was correct. I did indeed go to Sherian, and yes, I worked for the Royal Advisory. Curiously, it appeared that his shortness of breath he had prior was all but gone, making conversations, especially long ones, much easier. I was tasked with running the kingdom's intelligence operations in that damnable hellhole. Based in Taralan, I worked to bring down the rebel and transfer the province into the royal court. It was good work, and I was glad to serve. His eyes once again focused on something past her, something far away. But then things went wrong. Arkalen's brows furrowed as he excavated a long buried past. It was the sixth brightening in the second cycle of Optia, a night I will never forget. I had ordered my operatives to trail key rebel leaders some time ago. Then, on that fateful night, they had told word of various rebel leaders moving throughout the city. Something large was going on. The Black Shields, Wilderness Watch, Golden Shields, and the rebel army was mobilized and began operations throughout the city. I was not known at the time, but later discovered that indeed rebel leaders were being transported out of the city, no doubt knowing its imminent fall. What we did not know then, Arkalen said, the anger in his voice rising, was that it was not orchestrated by the rebel leaders, but the operatives put there by the highest echelons of power in the kingdom, Milo Le'Evin. The contempt was obvious with the last two words spilled out. We engaged, of course, stopping the rebel leaders from escaping under the auspices of their own armed forces. My men. So many of my men fought bravely. So many died. Arkalen stopped, the interior of his mind sieged by images from that black night. Faces of men he spent so much time with, trained, and been tasked with protecting, laying face down in the streets, dead for a battle which should have never been fought. They died, just like I did. We were on the verge of routing them, and stopping the wholesale theft of the city coffers by the Black Shields, when day arrived. The tyrant prince and his snake, Lysel Sapintia, the very wife of a man I once dared to call friend. The tyrant arrived in his airship, not only putting the entire operation in danger, and endangering my men, but his life and the very goal we had been tasked him with. For my good work they denied me. I told them the situation, but they already knew. Duncan Scythe arrived at the scene, twisting events to his liking, and no doubt using his mystic powers on the prince. I spoke of the sacrifice we had made, that my men had made, but instead, they had informed me that Duncan had been sent to Taralan to do work as I was tasked with, that I was there not only as a diversion, but a sacrifice. I had uncovered the truth of what was occurring, that Milo Le'Evin never truly ruled the kingdom, that it was the mystic Duncan Scythe, always at the side and always quiet in the background, who was the true ruler. Good men died because of their arrogance and petty power games. Arkalen yelled the last part, slamming his hand on the table forcefully. He had been caught up in the deluge of emotions that would never leave. He remembered carrying the body of one of his men to the airship. To show the treachery of their actions, the guard outside the Hana telling him to drop it. Drop it, like a sack of grain. Damn them! Damn them all! I am sorry, he said, coming back to the present, his voice shaking and his eyes fully watered, tears just beginning to fall down them, although he was not crying, but remembering. For what I learned, Milo imprisoned me in the Hana while Duncan presumably went to help the rest of the rebel leadership escape and transport the city coffers to Delamar Keep. I escaped the Hana through my own skill, and would have escaped the treacherous place fully, but the guards had been ordered to stop me by any means possible. They did not wish me to live, did not wish me to spread the truth that I have uncovered. It was here that he turned back to Tilbury, at once sorrowful of burden he had just laid on her, and at the same time free of what he carried so long. They cut me down just outside the airship. Royal Guards cutting me down like crossbow bolts. I felt them slam into me, and yet I was so close to escape, so close to being rid of them, so close, so close. His face had scrunched up in the memory, before a not so funny chuckle as he looked back at her. I saw you there, you know. I saw all you there. Mourner and Malkier too, clear as day, right before I died. And tears began to fall quicker, though Arcalian attempted to steel himself the best he could. The gods themselves witnessed the treachery of those I had pledged my life towards a kingdom that had offered me a willing sacrifice for minor political gain. Perhaps they wept too on that dark day. They offered me a choice, a chance to come back and undo the wrongs that had been done to me. They offered me a second chance. He was not much use for any more information, overcame by the terrible things that he had not told her about, of becoming the living dead, of mass murders of his own men and others in blind rage, of being a slave to violence. If she didn't believe the story, she would be hard-pressed to say that she didn't believe he believed it. Ah, that was an intense post. Very well written. Um, I just hope that I got the emotion right. Um, there's just so much emotion flowing here. Uh, it it's just a really crazy piece to read, but I hope you like it anyways. All right.